If you want to get real about political change, what Dan Schultz is about to tell you is the way to do it. So, Dan, the floor is yours. Take it and tell people how you're about to offer a course on personal political empowerment. How did they do it, Dan?
Thanks, Steve. It's real simple, and most people learn this, at least I did back in the late 60s in 7th grade in social studies in civics class. Essentially, what we have to do is we conservatives have to take over one of the two major political parties. Our party is the one we've been using is the Republican Party. The problem is we're not in control of it. And the reason we're not in control of it is we're not in it. You asked me before I came on, what group are you promoting? And the group I'm promoting is the Republican Party. But you're not in the party unless you're one of these. See, I've got my PC button on, Precinct Committeeman. Precinct Committeemen are the party. And if you want to put up graphic number 4, it basically explains that there's about 400,000 of these party positions in our party nationwide, but over 200,000 of them are vacant. And the powers that be inside the party running it don't want you to know this. They're never going to tell you this. You'll never get a mailer from them asking you to come into the party and become a precinct committeeman. What we have to do is we have to take over the party, and there's only one way to do it. The precinct committeemen are the party. The precinct committeemen elect everybody in the party all the way up to the RNC. So, for example, here in Maricopa County where I live, I'm in a precinct. There's 11 slots. I filled up all of the slots. But overall in Maricopa County and in my legislative district committee, we're at about 2/3 of the slots being vacant. And if you put up graphic number 6, I can show you what happens then when half of the slots are vacant in a party. What happens then at the grassroots level for getting out the vote, where the party ought to be strongest in helping to get out the vote, it's vacant. It's at half strength. And what we had going into 2020 and also way back in 2016 is that there were about 100,000 Trump precinct committeemen and about 100,000, I'll just call them, be nice and call them others, and half of the slots were vacant. And then when it came time, so the bottom line is this: conservatives, if you really want to do something, everybody's saying, what can I do? What can I do? Here's what you need to do. Find your local county committee. Get in touch with it. Find out if you're in a rural area, you're going to go to your county meeting. If you're in an urban area, you're probably going to go to an assembly district, legislative district, a lesser committee, a smaller committee, closer to where you live. Go to the meeting, be nice, be polite, introduce yourself, say, I want to become a member of this committee. Is there a vacancy in my precinct? You might be able to find that out before you go to the meeting. Get in touch with me. Wherever you live, I'll help you. It's not hard. And then fill the vacant position. The odds are better than 50% that there's a vacancy in your precinct. Volunteer to fill it. Again, you'll be a volunteer. Nobody can, as a precinct committeeman, you're top dog in the party. You elect everybody. You're a volunteer. Nobody can tell you to go stand on the corner with a clipboard and get signatures. You're a volunteer. That's the beauty of our party. It's a private organization. But right now, the party is doing very little because they don't want you. And once a conservative gets elected, they won't talk about this anymore because now they're in office and they don't want to jeopardize their potential of not getting reelected in the primary. Because remember, every incumbent has to stand for 2 elections, the primary and then the general. The primary is the most important election. And if they recruit conservatives into these vacancies and strengthen the party where they live, those conservatives might turn on them come primary time and help elect a better person, a better conservative. So the incumbents won't talk about this. Nobody talks about it, but I've talked about it.
Dan, hang on for a second. I just want.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to. Before we get to the book, I just want to clarify some things. 400,000 billets, 200,000 are taken. They don't advertise this. If somebody shows up and you will help them, we'll get to your site in a second. You will help the audience be able to find out where they can go. What obligations when they go and volunteer? Like, is it weekly meetings? Is it monthly meetings? And I realize everyone's probably different, but generally, what are people signing up for? If this is the ability to take over the Republican Party, because this is where the votes are, it's a pyramid, and this is the base of the pyramid. What are people signing up for? Because a lot of people say, hey, look, I don't like volunteering because I don't know what's going to be asked of me. What are they committing to?
It's real simple. It varies from state to state. Here in Arizona, there are duties, but you're encouraged to go to the meetings every month. What's great about the meetings is, guess who comes to the meetings? The politicians. When I first became and then the key thing is you elect everybody. So once a year, there's going to be or once every 2 years. In some states, it's once every 4 years. You're going to get to elect your county chairman directly. You're going to elect the officers of your local committee directly. You're going to elect state committeemen who directly elect the state chairman. I was a state committeeman. So were my 3 kids. 2 of them are 20, one's 22. We went to the state meeting. We cast votes directly for the state chairman as state committeeman. You also elect the delegates to the 4-year state presidential nominating convention. The delegates there that you've elected, and you can run for delegate, only the precinct committeemen elect the delegates. The delegates elect the national convention delegates directly, and then they also elect the national committeeman and the national committeewoman to a 4-year term on the RNC. That's real political power. We can take over the party if we invade it. And it's, look, if you won't go to a meeting once a month, this isn't for you. And I've told people this since 2009. I told the Tea Partiers this. If you will not at least try this and get involved and take over the party, I can't guarantee you that we'll save the Republic, but I can guarantee you this. We'll lose it. If we conservatives don't take over the Republican Party, we're going to lose our Republic. Because the political party, our party, the Republican Party, is our organization for electing better people. And we just got to do it. And it's so simple, it's so easy, but you got to get off the couch and go to a meeting once a month.
Here's the key. You don't need to talk about third parties. It's going to cost $1 billion. It's never going to go anywhere. You've got the ability, everybody out there, and it's not going to cost you a dime. Everybody's saying, I need to know what to do. This is an actionable item. Short commercial break. Return with Dan Schultz next. We got Mark. Okay, our guest is Dan Schultz about taking over the Republican Party, which everybody out in the audience, and Dan, you should know in our live chat, live stream, hashtag we're in pandemic, it's on fire about what's
short of it. We've got to elect better Republicans. We have a lot of Republicans in Arizona, Republicans who aren't really Republicans, but they run as Republicans, and they pretend to be really conservative. Does John McCain ring a bell? Jeff Flake ring a bell? They're charlatans. They're fakes, and we got to do a better job vetting them. First step: get more conservatives into the party, and then when you go to these monthly meetings, these politicians show up. They come to the Lincoln Day dinners and speak. You can walk right up to them and stick your finger on their chest and say, why did you do this? Why did you do that? You got to get involved in the party. And registering to vote means you check the box on a registration form. You got to become a precinct committeeman. The party is there for the taking. That when I recruit precinct committeemen for my precinct, I tell them right up front, I'm only going to ask you to do 2 things. At the primary election season, 3 hours of making phone calls and dropping flyers off to the lower information, lower propensity voters in our precinct. When all the precinct, and then in the general election, doing the same thing. I got a system for doing it. It works. My precinct is always at the top of the percentage of Republicans we get to the polls. I think we got 86 or 87% of Republicans to the polls in the general election this go around. Okay, it's real simple. I've broken it all down. It's real simple. I've got videos that explain how to do it.
How do people look? People are overwhelmingly saying on the live chat they want to volunteer. So walk through all the contact information. Where do they go?
Okay.
How do they find more information? How can you assist them?
So the first site is the precinctproject.wordpress.com. Then and there you'll find everything, and just nose around on it. You know, there's something for every state. There's, like I said, there's videos. Then rightlanenetwork.com. That's a labor of love of ours here in Arizona. We've got there's a chat forum that you can join, but we vet you. You're only going to come in if you're a conservative. rightlanenetwork.com, and the first place to click there is PC Portal, the PC Portal button. And then scroll down, you'll see there's tutorial videos. You can email me at acoldwarrior@gmail.com. I post occasionally on Twitter. I'm probably going to get off of Twitter. Dan Schultz, #2, Dan Schultz 2. And like I said, on Gab, I'm at Cold Warrior, MeWe, Daniel.Schultz. Parlor, when it comes back, Precinct Kofifi, CloudHub.com. I am Cold Warrior 1978. And on each one of those platforms, I've created a group with the words Precinct Committeeman or Precinct Committeeman Strategy in the group name. But first step, you got to become a Precinct Committeeman. You got to seek out your county committee, find out where your meeting is, go to the meeting, volunteer.
Okay. Here's what I want. I want everybody to pound in right now to Dan Schultz's information. This guy is been saying this. It's now time to do it. Stop talking about a third party. Your opportunity to take over the Republican Party is all about your agency. That's what Schultz keeps saying. This is all about you. This is all about your agency. For all the unwashed masses in the MAGA movement, the deplorables, we've got many more than 400,000 people that listen to this site. We got 34 million downloads on the podcast. It's one of the biggest shows in the world. I want people pounding into Dan Schultz today.